Good morning, guys. So we're going to be talking about Ukraine today, and we're going to be talking about the situation. It's going to be a lot of stuff that we're talking about. We've previously talked about it, but now the mainstream's got a hold of this and they're giving a slightly different angle. But we're going to go with what the mainstream are saying, and then I'm going to tell you what's really happening and what they're not telling you. Guys, if you've not done so already, please give me a subscribe and a like and share my stuff. For those of you who've been watching this channel for a while, how long have I been telling you about Pokrovsk in Ukraine? How long have I been telling you this is what the Russians are pushing towards? This is what the Russians are driving towards. And I've explained why. I explained about it's a rail hub, and it controls the two main supply routes, north and south. So I'm going to share an article that I'm going to be focusing on today, guys, and I'm going to be, talking about this. This is an article from Sky News. Now, remember, guys, if you've been following my channel, I've been talking about this for I think since the 8th. So since I think it was the 8th, when the Ukrainians made an incursion into Russia, and then the Russians started pushing really hard towards Pokrovsk. I think I've actually been talking about it before then, but I've done so many videos on Pokrovsk and why it's a key battleground. Well, it's come out now, mainstream media reporting on it. So guys, if that wasn't evidence enough that I tell you things that come out about a month before they do, please give us a subscribe and share my videos with the naysayers, with people who think this is not escalating into a third world war. The battle for Pokrovsk, why Russia wants to capture this key Ukrainian city. So Russian forces have been inching closer and closer towards the city of Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine, where the fighting is described as exceptionally rough. Again, guys, I've been showing you on the map how the Russians have been pushing. I'd say inching's a little bit of an underplay. They've been making huge gains towards that city. I wouldn't class it as a city though, but they do. Kremlin forces continue to advance on the strategic Ukrainian city of Pokrovsk, where fighting has been described as exceptionally tough. So they're now describing it as a strategic Ukrainian city. Russia has been pressing hard in that section of the eastern front line and has made slow but steady progress. Ukraine's top commander recently spent several days in the sector, where President Volodymyr Zelensky said the situation was extremely difficult. Guys, be under no illusion that city is going to fall in probably the next week or so. All they need is a breakthrough. We'll go onto the map in a minute and we'll talk about it. How big is Pokrovsk? Yeah, okay. Why does the Russian want Pokrovsk? Control of the city, which the Russian media call the gateway to Donetsk, would allow Moscow to severely disrupt Ukrainian supply lines along the eastern front. Guys, I've been saying this all along. Its capture would also boost Russia's campaign to capture the city of Chavis Yar, which sits on the higher ground, offering potential control of the wider area. So basically, guys, they're just saying, they're just talking about now what I've been saying. Now, also what I think is key is to the west of this location of Pokrovsk, there's a huge coal mine. Now, the Russians are still heavily dependent on coal for their energy system. Back in 2014, but probably 2014, 15, 16, I was actually in Donetsk in a place called Pisky. We was driving around, just me and my interpreter, and we came to a train line, and we were sat there behind the train line. And this huge train was going across. I mean, guys, if you're from the United Kingdom, we don't see trains this big in the United Kingdom. And when we look at trains on the TV, you never get a real perspective for this. These things are absolutely huge. I guess they are Soviet freight trains. Anyway, so I started counting the carts, and I said to my interpreter, Zhenya, I said, Zhenya, what's in there, mate? He said, oh, it's coal. I said, oh. I said, where's it going? He said, oh, it's going. He said, oh, it's going to Russia. I said, what? I said, how come? He says, oh, they're stealing it. And then a lot of carts had gone past before me, but I counted 37 carts. Now, I don't know how much how full these things were. I don't know how much coal was in them, but he told me these things were full, and 2 of these leave every day for Russia. So Russia, you know, and guys, this is my opinion, my speculation, anecdotally, what I'm telling you, you know, have been taking natural resources out of Donetsk for over 10 years now. And they, you know, from what I understand, that a lot of that's been stolen, you know, without the Ukrainian government's agreement, without people paying tax on it or whatever happens. So, you know, when we know that there's a large coal mine near the city of Pokrovsk, it kind of gives it more importance and more strategic importance, because remember, at some point, all conflicts and all wars are fought over some natural resources, you know, in some aspect. So let's quickly look at the map and see how much the Russians have been pushing forwards recently. And guys, I'll put a link to this map in the let's go right back to the 8th. In fact, let's go back to the 8th. So this map gives you it shows you where people have been advancing. So right back here, guys, if you're watching this for the first time, this is the city of Pokrovsk, and in Pokrovsk you've got 2 rail routes coming in. You've got one coming in from the south, one coming in from the north, and then you've got these two roads, main supply roads, going north and south. So it's a really it's a key logistic hub for the Ukrainians to resupply units, but also for the Russians. If Russians take control of this, it's a key logistical hub for the Russians to to use that as a logistics base. So here we are, guys. This is on the 8th of this month. I'm just going to fast forward through this, guys, and you'll see. Let's do that. Yeah. In fact, you know what? Because I know they go a bit further. So this is where the ground was. This is the red bit here is the Russian-held territory at the moment. Now, I'm going to skip forwards and watch how quickly they take this ground. So you can see, guys, you know, they are taking this ground at an alarming rate. Now, this road here, I don't think they're going to exploit themselves any further than this road, because they've taken control of it. So just for context, guys, that's where I said I was driving around in Pisky. That's where Pisky is, right there. Anyway. So yeah, so they're pushing hard onto this location to take this location. Now, why is that important? Why does that matter? Why are the mainstream talking about it? Well, you know, nothing that comes out in the mainstream now is not, you know, we've got late stage capitalism, we've got late stage democracy. I'm even going to say we've got late stage media now, where every media outlet is tied to a government organization or a left or right wing leading organization, to a think tank or whatever. So they all know what to say. And that's why it makes it so hard for, you know, for people watching to understand what's happening, and why you've seen the huge rise in independent media who are just going around with a camera phone, and why they're becoming so popular. Now, the reason this is so important, and the reason I wanted to talk about the mainstream talking about it, and again, I'll put this link in the description, but because Sky News are now talking about this, and no doubt other media outlets will, when that falls, when the battle for Pokrovsk, when Pokrovsk falls, like I've said, it's going, you know, I've been saying for a long time it's going to fall. When that falls, people are going to be, oh, the Ukrainian, you know, the Russians are making huge gains in the east. We need NATO troops on the ground, and that's going to then feed into that narrative of this EU training contingent, or whatever however they package it, guys. I don't know. It could be a peacekeeping force. It could be an international relief force. It could be a training and mentoring contingent. It doesn't matter. However they frame that and package it, it doesn't really matter. But you will have NATO forces being pushed into Ukraine to then relieve the Ukrainians to move up front. And that's why I wanted to share that article with you guys. Not because it was new information to you guys who follow my channel, because you guys are like a month ahead of everything anyway. But what it does, it shows you now that they're gearing everybody up for the NATO troops to move into Ukraine. And guys, maybe I'm wrong, but who knows? We'll soon find out when when things start to happen. But if we see more media focusing on Pokrovsk and that falling, then we can pretty much guarantee that the next step after the media have what's the word I'm looking for, softened us to the thought of NATO troops being on the ground, then it'll just happen, guys, because it'll be the natural progression. And once you understand how these things work, guys, you just see it and you're like, all right, that's going to happen, then that's going to happen, then that's going to happen. And if you always look with the lens that we're heading towards, a huge global conflict, if you see that's the end result, then you see the path towards it. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. I'm going to keep it quite short because I've been telling you guys about this for such a long time, but the reason I'm showing it you guys, mainstream are reporting on it. That means that the next step was probably being agreed on, and it's probably already in, some sort of phase 1 or whatever. Anyway, guys, I'm going to back to grid. Don't forget to share this video with somebody that is a naysayer, and then show them my previous videos about Pokrovsk. Guys, I'm going to go, and I'll speak to you soon.